I'm Jay Pitts, a real estate broker, agent, leader, and investor. For the last decade, I've navigated the craziest of real estate markets this country has ever seen, selling over 2,000 homes, moving in and out of markets, always ahead of the curve. And now I'm bringing that perspective to you. This is your resource, and Real Talk About Real Estate starts right now. And we're back, folks. Welcome to Resource, Real Talk About Louisville Real Estate. I am your host, broker, owner of RE/MAX Premier Properties, leader of JT Pitts and Associates. I am Jay Pitts. I guess that was a little redundant there. Try to mix it up a little bit. I guess it's never bad to hear your own name a few more times, maybe. I don't know. Cringy, perhaps. As always, quite excited. Or as one of my mentors would say, is alive, excited, and full of energy. I'm really excited about today's topic. I've shared with you in the past some insights about how we come up with our topics and for the episode, and it really is this kind of brain soup kind of conglomeration from the second we wrap the show this week until the moment that we go live next week. And it's no different today. It might have been a while, and I was looking back. This is the 11th consecutive episode with no guests. We're kind of on a run here. Not saying it's going to stay that way forever. You may see some guests very soon. We're kind of probably leaning back in toward going that direction. But I scrapped the idea for the episode like 5 minutes before we started today. And in part because the majority of what happens, what preparation goes on to step in front of this microphone and talk to you on a weekly basis is my day-to-day practice as a real estate broker, as a leader, as a professional in this industry. I try to keep a pulse of what's relevant within these four walls for sure, but the market at large. This is Resource Real Talk About Louisville Real Estate, is a local show for local agents. And what's been going on around here, and what goes on around here certainly shapes what we talk about on a weekly basis. And I had an amazing conversation. Some of you may be aware, I've talked about it on previous shows, about our small groups that we do here at RE/MAX Premier Properties. And it's essentially a mastermind group. We have a few of them. And we got into this conversation today in a group with some agents that I go back a number of years with, some that are recent additions, but very credible professionals, amazing individuals. And the conversation surrounded the team and team lead and team agent dynamic, right? How that works, where it's headed, how is it shaped by today's market versus, what's gone on in the past. And very spirited, very lively discussion. Professionals that have a lot of experience, leaders in their own right, how they're working within their own teams, how they traverse this landscape and lead people on a daily basis. And so what that left me with was a few things that I wanted to share with all of you. So today's episode is geared toward team members and team leaders. And not only those two, but those of you who may be independent agents, and I'll use that term, lightly. I guess I should probably explain what it means. In our world, in my world here at RE/MAX Premier Properties, it's a one-person operation, essentially. There are all sorts of teams, shapes, sizes, compositions, etc. But you're an independent practitioner under a principal broker that is in control of your marketing, in control of your processing, in control of your showings, in control of your listing appointments, in control of your technology, in control of your expenses. You're not in business by yourself, but you're out there on your own quite a bit. That's what I mean by an independent agent. So if you're an independent agent that has considered starting a team or considered joining a team, because you haven't really gotten the success that you're looking for, or the mentorship, or what have you, the experience you're looking for, whether you're in the business a long time or a short period of time. This I guess is really for anyone, because even if you have no intention, teams are here to stay. This business is done in the team dynamic. It has been for some time, and it continues to grow in popularity. So you will contend with teams whether you like it or not. Okay? If you're a brand new to the industry agent, I would submit to you that there is no better way to join this industry rather than join a team. Now, there are outliers to every rule, exceptions to every rule, but most people in today's climate are benefited by joining a credible team. I'll say that again. Most people that get in the industry new are benefited by joining a team. Now, you'll find out very quickly once you start down that path that not all teams are created equal, and some have greater resources than others. Okay? But, you get to be the judge of that. That's the great thing about this industry. There's infinitely many ways to practice this industry. Okay, so let's talk first and foremost. Let's get it out of the way right up front. This is a seller's market. Buyer leads are easy to find. Listings sell themselves, and almost anyone who would get in the real estate industry is in contact with at least a few people that want to buy or sell, and honestly, people that want to list. Okay, so with that fact understood, and understanding that the industry is incredibly popular, in vogue, 2020 brought us a challenging year. Real estate is one of the beneficiaries of the challenge that other industries experienced. Rates are low. Sales are brisk. Values are up. Appreciation is happening. Financing is not impossible to obtain. So real estate has been the beneficiary of all of that. Lots of stimulus injected, and continues to be. We're even talking about a federal first-time home buyers tax credit, stimulating demand even further. So there's a lot of real estate companies. There's a lot of discount companies. There's a lot of discount real estate service provided. There's a lot of discount brokerage service provided to agents. Agents, do you or do you not? I'll assume that I can hear you, or I'll pretend that I can hear you. Loudly and clearly scream to me, yes, there are 8 billion real estate companies out there, and they're all trying to race to the bottom in terms of splits. So you can find a company that is willing to charge you next to nothing to allow you to get into the real estate business. Yes or no? Yes is the answer. So, with all that said, okay, why is it more important now than ever that teams observe the 50-50 split dynamic between team owners, team leaders, and team members? Pause for effect, but I will tell you it's incredibly important. It's important because of the reflection that a team is a partnership. It is a partnership from between each member and the owner or leader of that team. So if you're not on a team that can and will produce 50% of your business opportunities, that's not a team that you need to be a part of. Now, whether you take advantage of those opportunities or not is something that you have to work out between yourself and your team leader. Obviously, I'm speaking to those team agents, those would-be team agents. If your team leader is not capable, does not have the resources or the support to produce 50% of business opportunities for every member of that team, that's not a team that you need to be a part of. Now, team members grow. Sphere of influence grows. Members choose to do one segment of the business versus the other, one lead source versus the other, based on where they are in their individual business. But that's not all the value that the team brings, right? or it shouldn't be. If you look at my team, I create enough leads to support 50% of the business for every member on it. Now, some get there better than their fair share and some get less. Some choose to get substantially less. But beyond that, you provide other things that have value. But if you go into this relationship, okay, team leaders, I'm talking to you now. If you go into this situation expecting to have to create a substantial amount of value, create 50% of the business opportunities for each agent you agree to bring onto your team, then you've given it your best. You've given it a fair shake at success. And so, it came up in conversation. When do you have that discussion? Do you need to create value first? One of my mastermind members said, you should create value first. It's like going on a listing appointment. You never discuss commission your first, as the first question. That's definitely a way to do it. It's a viable way. I disagree personally. But it's because I like to get it out in the open. I like to be very direct. If a potential team member asks me what the split is, I hit them with it right then and there. And then I get to learn for myself whether that's the issue, the controlling issue. Because if price is the issue before value is created, then I know just how much we have to discuss it in the rest of the meeting. So anyway, team leads. If you don't approach this as a partnership, then your team members don't know that they should approach it as a partnership. I'm going to work tirelessly to create opportunities, right? So that no member of my team ever looks at me and says, what do I need him for? Now, they may decide that their business has matured to the point where they want to pursue other endeavors. Totally fine by me. Totally fine. In fact, I'll participate in that process. Now, not everybody needs to own a brokerage, but if you own a brokerage, fantastic. Having a place, having a seat for the most credible members of my team to slide over and become a member of my brokerage allows me to continue to operate and pursue and protect and build success for people that are simply just pursuing what they think is what they need in their business. So now, what's the additional value? The additional value beyond opportunity, okay, is pretty simple. It's service. Do you have staff? What does your staff do for your client? Your client in this case is your team member. Team member, what does that team provide you in the way of service? Now, you may not even know. You may be so new to the business that you don't even know what service you need, what service you require. Well, let me tell you what that is. You need to become a complete real estate practitioner. Complete. What that means is that you need to know the process inside and out. You need to know the terminology inside and out. But that does not require that you process every single transaction that you take part in from start to finish between now and the end of your career. Service that a lot of teams provide looks a lot like transaction coordination, so that you are allowed to make use of leverage created for you to go out and spend your time doing what is most valuable to you, which is selling, building rapport, finding new clients, negotiating, protecting a transaction that's already been ratified so that it gets to the closing table and doesn't come crashing down to contract release. Those are the things that are dollar productive for you as a salesperson. We know where you move the needle. Chances are you're considering a career or have gotten into a career in real estate because you feel as though, accurately I might add, you feel as though you're best at building rapport with people. helping people understand how to get what they want, serving yourself. Okay? For you to serve others, you must have some service provided to you. That could also be called support. Okay? How do you do what you do best without some level of support? A restaurant wouldn't exist if the same person turned on the lights to open the restaurant, folded all the silverware, washed all the dishes, prepped all the meals, served all the tables, sat all the patrons, bust the tables at the end, and wash the dishes at the end of the night before mopping up and closing the door and turning the lights off. You can't provide a great experience when you're the only one that participates in your business. This is why you will hear me say things like a team always outperforms an individual. Now, of course, a credible, experienced real estate professional in year 10 of their career can represent a single client probably better than a brand new to the industry agent on a team. But the truth is, what does it matter if you're not in the business next month to allow you to help more clients? You can't make enough money doing that by the amount of time that you must invest. So teams take a very simple business process, which is leverage, a concept that all of us should understand. And we take and we use our time doing what we do best so that we may become more fruitful and profitable because we're using our time at its highest and best use. So teams, don't fight the 50-50. Members or leaders. The leaders aren't being greedy. They're just trying. You don't understand the cost of that they have to, incur to just give you an opportunity to be on that team. Everybody thinks the team leads are making out like bandits. Trust me, they're not. Trust me. Got a lot of experience with this. That service and support is not easy to provide. It's not cheap either. Okay? But team leads, don't forget, you must provide at least half of the opportunities of a new agent that joins your system. Number 3, largely this goes unrecognized because you don't have a dollar attached to it. There is no transaction. But let me tell you, mentorship, confidence imparted, a steady hand from a team leader who's been there and done that, provided to a team member who hasn't, is invaluable. I can tell you in all of my career, one agent that has come through and been a member of my team is no longer in the business. And he's a quite successful business person. It's just real estate wasn't for him. And he was incredibly young and probably not the most focused when he was a member of my team. But in all of that, in all of those other agents that have come through my system and that remain in the business, some of them incredibly talented, it didn't click for every one of them on day one. Sometimes it took years. Okay? And without proper mentorship through those difficult early stages, some of the most talented real estate professionals that I've ever mentored never would have made it through year one. That steady hand, that keep your head up, that, flush it and move on. Okay, you're having a bad month, no joke. Those happen. Flush it and move on. If you can't get through those difficult times, you're never going to get to the sunny side on the other side of adversity. Okay? So mentorship is incredibly important, and don't undervalue that. It's human nature to assign more value to our own efforts than the efforts of others. It's human nature. In fact, somebody very wise once told me when working through conflict, you should never look for a 50-50 split in effort. between yourself and another party, because it's unattainable. It's unattainable. Your mind, your psyche, it won't allow you to see a 50-50. What you have to do is give 100% effort, expecting zero in return, and do so willingly, without resentment. And when you do that, in any sort of interpersonal interaction, you'll inspire the other side to do the same. And even if they fall short, you'll want to give them grace. So if you look at your team lead and you're resenting that 50-50 split, and you're undervaluing the service and support, and you're not giving them credit for the mentorship they're giving you, right? That steady hand, that, help with how to present, a difficult repair request, all of those things, right? You're never going to find 50-50. You're never going to find 50-50. It's always going to seem like there's a lack of equity there. But if you give them everything you have, and they do so in return, and you've vetted them, and you've made sure that you understand the type of person that this is, and you're entrusting a portion of your future to them and their level of fairness. Team leaders, just the same. If you found someone who truly wants to buy in, and you've given them everything you have, and you haven't cut them short, that's a great working relationship. And it's going to continue until it doesn't work for one of the two parties. Now, to close up, I will say that there is one other concept that you must understand in order for the team dynamic to work, the team partnership dynamic to work. And that, very simply, is the spirit of abundance. Scarcity is not your answer, okay? If you're a team member and you've been at this for 12, 18, 24 months or longer, and your production, your credibility, your success is not where you would like it to be, please do yourself a big favor and don't start convincing yourself that scarcity is the way you should lean. Now, what do you mean by that, Jay? What I mean is, I sold 15 houses last year. My goal was 25. I would have hit my income goal at 25. But if I'm on a 50-50 split, if I was on a 75-25, then I would have exceeded my income goal with only 15. The answer is not to take from somewhere else to support yourself. Truly and genuinely ask yourself, did the team leader you're working with provide the opportunity for you to hit your goal? Because remember, we're promising nothing but opportunity here. No one promised you success. No one promised you that you would hit your goals. They promised you the opportunity to create 50% of your business. That means if that goal was 25, you need to do 12 and a half deals from team business. I see so often people that did 6 or 7 deals by themselves, 10 or 12 from the team. They missed their goal of 30 by a third. And they think, oh, well, if I could just do 5 extra deals generated from myself and go from a 50-50 to a 75-25, I'm home. Well, trust me, that's not the answer. It's not the answer, because moving away from that team dynamic and losing the service, the support, the mentorship, okay, and the opportunities in terms of leads is going to put you in a place where you underperform versus overperform. Don't leave a partnership from a place of scarcity. There is no addition by subtraction. It doesn't work that way. Leave a team from a place of abundance because you're on the top rung of that ladder and you've got nowhere else to climb. So you got to find a different ladder. Okay? Don't step backwards. Don't convince yourself that less production is the answer. Don't convince yourself that they're taking too much from you because, once again, equity is not guaranteed, only opportunity. And probably, if you're honest with yourself and you rewind to day one of your career, or even prior to day one, when you're sitting down with people to try and determine which brokerage, which team, which situation you want to be a part of, you were inspired by that person you signed up with. And trust me, if they're no longer inspired so they can't be inspirational anymore, then you need to move on because they didn't deliver on their value proposition. But if they're still that same person and you just didn't take advantage of the opportunity they created, trust me, there will be no addition by subtraction. Now, I don't mean this sounds like a lecture, but more a place of understanding. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, the best place for anyone to start in this real estate industry brand new is a team. Okay? So my advice to you is pay attention. Get out of your own head. Team leads, get out of your own head. A little bit of recognition goes a long way. Take the time to be inspirational, which means you must first become inspired. There's a number of ways that you can make that happen. Be inspired first, then you can be inspirational. A little bit of recognition for your people will go a long way. Help them understand that you're still that same person. And team members, if you're debating on whether this is for you or not, okay, watch, pay attention, and ask yourself, can I do exactly what that team lead does? Can I do it? Am I willing to do it? Am I willing to sacrifice the things they sacrifice to get here? Am I willing to risk the money? Am I willing to hire the staff? Am I capable of inspiring the staff to come work for me? Am I willing to lay my head on the pillow every night thinking about the families who you support through payroll? And if you're not, come away with a greater level of respect for the burden they carry. Because the only way they get better is by helping you get better, because that's what it means to be a mentor. All right, folks, off my soapbox. On a much, much lighter note, I am happy to report that something pretty exciting happened in my world here lately, and I would like to ask if you are not if you're not too busy, and after you listen to this podcast, you want to zip on over to the CEO of RE/MAX International, Adam Contos' podcast, which is called Start With a Win. Yours truly is a guest on today's show that just came out. I had a blast with Adam. We got some more media coming. I was a guest on another podcast we'll talk to you about here in the not too distant future. Should be live here in another week or so. But it's hard to put into words the honor that it is to be the guest of a multinational industry leader like RE/MAX and having their CEO ask you to be a guest on his podcast. So you get to hear a lot about my backstory, talk a lot about my dad, talk a lot about what real estate has been for me and my journey. from start of my career until now. So, if you want a little perspective on who Jay Pitts is, who the guy is behind this microphone that comes to you every week and, talks to you about crazy things like context and, persistence and these heady kind of like crazy philosophical real estate conversations. That's me. You'll get some context, as one of my favorite words goes, from this episode. Do me a favor, give it a listen. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. As always, you can find us on Apple iTunes or the podcast app. For Apple, you can find us on all the socials. Pretty easy to find. Just type in my name. If you are inclined and you have not before, please subscribe to this podcast. Throw us a 5-star review. We give 40 lashes with a wet noodle to anybody that goes 4 stars or below. 40 lashes with a wet noodle is a grandmother saying, not a father saying, in case you're keeping score at home. But yes, 5-star reviews are appreciated. You can find us on social. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, find us. You can search Resource Real Talk about Louisville real estate on Facebook. As long as you're a real estate agent, I'm more than happy to get you added so that you get live access to the podcast as we go live every week. Also, like I said, you can find me on all socials, emails, cell phone is out there floating about. Feel free to reach out and engage me. We would love to hear your feedback. Until next week, which we may or may not have a guest, that's all I got for you today. But in review, teams are a partnership. Teams are a partnership. Once again, until next week, we'll see you. Thanks.